What we have now on screen is how we kind of cater for that when it comes to our reference signals by having both a primary and a backup sync pulse generator connected to an emergency changeover unit. And this has worked really well, hasn't it, for us for many years now?
Yes, and it's going to be what we have going forward. But now we also have PTP for the 2110 network, which comes out of the SPG and goes directly into the network, because PTP has their own system for the two SPGs talking to each other, but they're talking to each other over the network.
So let's make this clear to everybody. PTP is not going through that emergency changeover unit.
Nope, it's going directly out to your PTP distribution network. The two generators are talking to each other. Kevin and I have got a couple PTP webinars up if you want to see how that operation takes place and the synchronization between those two. But the two generators are talking to each other, and if you've set the priorities correct, in this case, the top generator would be the generator that everybody would be using for the PTP. The bottom generator is there in waiting if something happens to the top generator.
So what could possibly go wrong? Here we are. Everything's coming off of the primary SPG. Life's good.
And then something happens to your black burst going into the SPG, or the output of the SPG could go wonky, but something happens to cause a signal to go. Someone screws up the connector, something happens weird, and we will switch to the backup SPG in the ECO, and life goes on perfectly from all the black aspects. But Kevin, what happened to PTP?
Well, it's still running on the primary unit, because the best master clock algorithm that selects the grand master doesn't know what's happened with the emergency changeover unit. It's not part of the process because it's not connected to it.
Oh.
So now you've got the scenario where your black and burst and PTP are coming off of different devices.
And
that's not an ideal situation.
Yeah, that could get really strange for the poor maintenance engineer that needs to go in and find out what happens. So he thinks he can go up, since everything's switched over to the backup, he can go into that primary SPG and start fiddling around and moving things, powering it down, powering it up, and doing things, not realizing his PTP is still coming off of that generator. So there are things that we can do to make things happen. And one happens to be the ability, when the SPG swaps over, is to actually make the primary unit a different clock priority than the secondary unit, and change its clock priority so that it is not the leader anymore, and the second SPG, because we've made it a better priority than the top unit. You can do it two ways. You can do it, call up a preset that just changes the PTP priority of the bottom unit, make it better than the top unit, or you could actually take the same lead up to the primary unit and make it a lower priority than the bottom unit. And that will walk seamless, because it's not a drop in signal, it's just a change in priorities, and all the devices on the PTP network just walk over, and the SPG just walks from one SPG to the other SPG, still putting out PTP. Nobody sees the thing in the network.
So basically, you've used the emergency changeover unit has triggered the best master clock algorithm to change them, because you've changed the preset, you've changed the priority, and you've raised the level of the backup SPG, so it becomes the grandmaster.
Yep. So now we've got the flip side of this, where something happened to your GPS, took a lightning strike on the antenna, who knows what, maybe the PTP generator, God forbid, in the SPG took a dump, but your PTP, your top generator, is no longer locked to GPS, it's on internal. The bottom generator still locked to GPS, so it's a better, what they would call, clock class, because it is GPS locked versus sitting on the internal crystal. And it will, via the BCMA, best master clock algorithm, PTP will lock to that second generator, which is good. So now you've got the best possible PTP lock, and it's still in your network, but everybody else is still sitting on the top generator for all of your
other references.
Yeah, other references and test signals and everything else. And again, you can get that same scenario that someone might want to try to figure out, I got to fix this thing, get in there and not realize that if you yank it down, it's going to switch over eventually, but it's going to have to drop before it ever switches. And that is not pretty when black drops. Devices do not like that. So, at least Leader, we've got the ability to link what I call an unused black out. So if you take black 6, there's 6 outputs, and chances of meeting 6 individual outputs is slim and none. Take the 6th output of the black, we have the ability to tie that to the BCMA, and we can actually take that 6th black out, have it go away. It's not feeding into your plant. The ECO will then switch to the backup, and now everything. And the nice thing about it is all of your AES and black tri-level signals are all switched electronically, so they're hitless. Nobody even sees them switch. So it doesn't take a relay switch. It is an electronic circuit switch with relay backup on top of that. And now your entire network is riding on the backup unit. Now you can go to the primary unit and work on it.